What's up, ballers? It's Coach Andres, and I am with my wife, Melissa Ruiz Vasquez. I didn't say my name.
You didn't say
I
your
didn't
full
say
name.
my
You
full
say
name.
Coach Andres.
You know, like with Trump in office, sometimes you don't want to give all that information.
No.
But Carlos Andres Ruiz, I go by Coach Andres. Well, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Amazing. I love.
Amazing.
Yes, amazing. I love when your curls are curling. But what I don't love, I love her curls, but I hate the process of her curls looking this good because she has to wash her hair and that thing takes forever. And then she has to dry them, which is a whole other process. And then if I need her to help me with anything, it's like she's done for 3 hours.
Out of office.
You want to tell us like what was that?
I said I was out of office.
You were
Like
out of
2 hours.
office. Well, what is that process like?
Oh my god.
Do you enjoy it?
No.
Oh.
I mean, the process isn't like super fun because like it takes so long. Like I also feel like I could be doing so many other things, you know. But and it's like imagine I'm doing this for like a long time.
That's
and
true.
then I have to like untangle my hair.
It's a workout, arm workout.
It is.
Okay.
And you know, if you do all that and then they don't come out the way you want it, that's annoying.
Wait, how do you decide on like how to make it look the way you want it, or is it just the universe picks?
The universe picks.
The universe.
Well,
picks,
like you can do things that help it end up the way you want it, but regardless, it's just at this point, like you know, when you first met me, my hair was so short.
Yes.
And it was so.
Ooh, maybe we should put a picture of that. Go ahead.
Yes, but it was so much easier to deal with because there was little hair.
Yep.
But now my hair is the longest it's been in like 2 years because I just let it grow out, did some trimming and whatnot. But now, like before, when it was like this short, dividing it into like sections, very easy. Light work. But now, dividing this into 4 sections is exhausting and like so much hair. And then that means you'd use more product, but I need to change the routine up.
It's a workout. It's expensive. And it's up to the universe.
Yep.
Okay. So should we talk about hair today, or what should we talk about?
No.
No, not about hair.
No, maybe.
Come on, let's get back to what are we going to talk about today? So last night at the Ballers Lab, we were having. So the Ballers Lab is a space in which we come together Sunday nights with players, and it's our virtual training hub. So we bring professional players. We had a professional player from Europe, and he's in the Champions League. And so when he came, there was a video of him, Megan, Phil Foden. And ever since that moment, Manchester City has not been the same.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. Should we keep him in the community after doing that?
We'll have to have a chat.
We'll have to have a chat. Is Marco Tolik, and he's one of the characters within Infinite Ballers that was with us from the start. We started in 2020 with some of our virtual coaching. But anyways, how do we get there?
How about you tell us about what inspired you in 2020 to create Infinite Ballers?
Wow, what a good question.
Thank you.
2020. So 2020 was COVID.
Oh, it was tragic.
We talked last episode. We talked about the tragedy of 2020, not just with COVID, but with Mel. She lost her leg. She didn't lose her leg.
I lost my leg.
No, she broke her leg. She didn't lose her leg. She has two
God.
legs. Infinite just holds such a unique definition inside of me. I think my spirituality brings that out in the fact that I do think that we have this greatness inside of us that is beyond the time that we're here. And if you think of athletes that outlive their physical expression, like Kobe Bryant left us so young, and Kobe Bryant is still influencing so many humans and athletes in a way that some of us who are still here are actually not. And so there was that part of it, not just Kobe, there's many examples. And then Ballers. Ballers is just some sort of street way to describe players that are really good. You hear it in street soccer. So when somebody's really taking over the street, whether it's basketball, soccer, whatever sport it may be, it's like, yo, that guy's a baller. And so combining those two, I think brings the essence of human development and player development. And if we can find a way to just help athletes become the best athletes possible in that time frame, and then help them, give them some principles that will outlast their player career.
Hmm.
Can you think of anybody that maybe was really pivotal to your college process? Because coming from Colombia,
Yeah.
our parents' dream was for us to get education.
Mm-hmm.
That's the craziest, most important line. Education is everything. And we're going to go on some education episodes and what we feel the future of education may be. But for our parents, education and coming to this country was one of the biggest decisions.
Yeah.
And so, with that being one of the goals, your parents have told you that you got to get to college. Was there anybody that, in addition to all the hard work that you put, anybody that you can think of that really was part of that journey, that without them, that wouldn't have happened?
So in my Vogue school is very unique. It's not like any, when I say Vogue school, there's even like an asterisk to the Vogue school, because it's not that the vocations that you are looking into or that are recommended, whatever the case may be, are within the school. You have to go find it. There's only a math teacher and an English teacher. And then if you wanted to take like a science, you had to go to a different building because at this certain time, whatever. So me and my two friends were really tight with my math teacher. Like, we would go hang out in his room when we're like not doing our work, or maybe to do work, because he had no class in there and it was more quiet than being within the classroom that we're at. So I think he was really helpful in the process. I remember, I guess, attached to like soccer, I remember being a junior, and I don't remember why we were talking about this, but I think we discussed like, what are your goals? What do you want to do? And one of the teachers within the building, I don't know exactly what his role was. Now, like thinking back to it, I know he had one. He was very trustworthy, very super. Oh, he was such a nice guy. He was such a sweetheart. But we were talking, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to play soccer in college." And he's like, "Have you talked to any colleges?" I'm like, "No. What are you talking about?" Because you already said like, parents don't know what any of this process looks like. So we were out there well, I know Martha helped you a lot, but I had to fill out my own FAFSA. I had to fill out my Common App. If there was any information I needed from my parents, I had to go ask them and do it myself. But it was like,
I never filled out FAFSA myself.
Wow.
Our kids,
bless your heart,
are lucky that they're gonna have you.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to fill it out.
Because I can't call Martha for this one.
I'm sure she. Oh my gosh, are you sure about that?
I can ask, but
that brings me so much. I did not love that part.
Well, you were doing it for that.
I was doing it. It turns out I was doing it for their future.
I'm kidding. I will learn, and
it's now, as like where I'm at now, I'm sure a lot of the words make sense now. A lot of the process makes sense. But I was in high school. I was probably 15, 16, whatever. Anyways, that was a tangent, but
anyways, guy that didn't have a role.
Yeah.
Was helpful.
So we were talking, and he was like, "You need to start looking at colleges like now. Like, he was essentially saying like there was no way I was gonna play college if I didn't start."
What year were you in?
I was a junior.
Oh,
so I think it was more like Division I. Like, I had aspirations of going Division I, but so that like jump started my process. At that point, we had that conversation. I didn't even play club yet. I was still playing town soccer.
You were a junior in high school, and you didn't play club.
Nope, not yet. I didn't know what that process looked like. My parents didn't know it existed, and even if they did, that was money that we did not have.
Yes, true.
So that kickstarted my process into looking into club, and like knowing full well I had a lot of awareness of whatever club I go play for, it better be a full scholarship type situation, because I also wasn't working, and my parents couldn't afford it. So that helped me start the process and looking at schools that had my major and schools that I could play at. So his name, we called him Chachi. I don't think his.
But he does have a name. Oh wow.
He does.
That's
He
great.
does. His name is Chachi. My math teacher's name was Ed, and then my advisor helped a lot in like writing essays and like stuff like that.
And their name was your advisor?
David.
David, Chachi, and
Ed.
And Ed.
The trio,
the Holy Trinity of that season of your life.
Yep.
Good.
They were, and there was a college counselor within the building. She was very helpful with that process. But
was it possible to still go to college if you removed the three of them?
I don't think so, just because the process would be so overwhelming as just like one person. Like, who would I go ask for help with my application, or like, does this sound good? Is this college essay like intriguing enough?
Yeah, I think that's so important, being able to find these mentors. And what's interesting about, I mean, my story, I can relate it as well, but we're not even looking for the person that's gonna guide me to college. So you weren't walking into his classroom like, oh, I gotta go hang out with him because maybe he's gonna help me get to college.
No way.
But it was this genuine and organic back and forth exchange of trust. I hear trust being such a important and trustworthy. Like one of them, like I don't even know what his role was, but he was trustworthy. And I wonder if there's so many places and entities that are trying to put in parents' eyes and kids the fact that this is the platform that's gonna get you to college.
Yep.
Maybe yes and maybe no, but I do think that there's something unique about this organic way of life and connection and relationship, that these are the people that actually will care for you because they weren't necessarily selling it to you. And so I always try to imagine, even when I'm working with infinite ballers, what is the equivalent of that? How can I recreate almost like a universe of space, of a space with people that maybe you run into a coach Ed in this community, or maybe for me it was Martha, and I've talked to you a lot about Martha, Mr. Morris, and how do we create a space in which, if you're in this space, the interactions in this space can create this person, that this person is not looking to help you get to college and you're not looking for them to help you get to college, but there's an organic relationship that actually changed your life. And we can't even stop at your life. So the reason your parents came to this country was for that. I don't even know that when they came into the country they were imagining, oh, there's going to be a teacher that's going to help the process go. And so there's this something about this organic ability to create relationship that I think gets sucked out when we create so many platforms or so many entities that are strictly created to make your life a project. And this is the project of going to college. This is the project of going professional. This is the project of wherever. Why are you laughing?
Because the project. Muy sutil.
If you know, you know. But there is this lack of relational, which we were as humans created to have to help each other. But at the end of the day, like regardless of what you call it, what you do need to make money as a business. You know, the school needed to get funded, and they needed to pay Ed, and Ed needed to have students. And so I don't think that necessarily some of these programs are necessarily bad. I think it's more of like a posture. And so what is your intention? Am I here just to make you go to college and then say that I helped you go to college? I don't think that Ed has created a place where he brands, I help kids go to college. You know, Martha she could, but Martha has not created anything that's like, oh, I'm gonna help Spanish guys who play soccer go to college. No, she was just an angel that came across my life and one of my teammates' life, and she helped us get to college. But it's such a fine line, because I do want to create a space where this can become an opportunity or an extension of it, but I don't want the space that we create to be built on that, because then it becomes transactional. I'm using your story or the results of your story to increase my brand. And maybe I'm just a very bad business person, but I don't know that I feel comfortable doing that. And so I wonder what it would be like to to more intentionally be aware of the humans in the spaces. Because I think we can get caught up as athletes or even coaches with the destination
Yeah.
and college and pro and whatever next level of coaching may be, and we might actually miss the opportunity to make it to college and to make a pro because we missed the person that was going to actually connect us because we're so uh, focused on the outcome and not on the people that are part of this journey.
So you mentioned a lot of Martha. How about you share a little bit about what she's done for you, what has happened in this process?
Martha, I really can't describe Martha without the word angel. And I'm very spiritual. And sometimes I go into the Bible and I'm, God, how did you used to talk to all these people and like go and see them face to face, like Moses got to see God. And I'm like, God, can you talk to me? Can you be more clear? And sometimes like you're nowhere to be found. And every time I go into that rabbit hole, I feel something inside of me that, hey, I'm not there myself, but I've put humans around you.
Yeah.
And if all the humans that I've created are an image of me, then you can find me in them. And I kid you not, this is a person that every time I think of this woman, I can't describe her with anything other than divine. And she was an angel that was placed in my path. And it was too organic for me to even plan it. I can't even get to Martha without all these other angels or characters. Yeah. And I think we sometimes think of angels of people who are only good and that they do everything right. Like there was angels that or people that influence my journey that maybe I don't agree with their style of or their morals or their life, but they were very pivotally placed in that moment for me to get to the next. So I think I wonder if sometimes when we cancel people in this cancel culture, I wonder if we miss the opportunity to just help each other get to a next season of our life that we long to be in. But anyways, Martha, I can't get to Martha without getting to Mr. Morse and without getting to Carlitos, who, so I'm also Carlos, and we had two Carloses in the team. And so he had to be called Carlitos, and I had to be called Carlos. I tried to have them call me Andres, but the head coach was like, the last Andres I coached was horrible.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Guess who said that?
Francis.
Coach Francis. He's like, the last Andres I coached was horrible. You can't be Andres. So I was Carlos and he was Carlitos. And I met Carlitos in a town game. I don't even know that you can call it town game to what we think of town. It was just like a street game where parents put together like kids to play.
That's funny.
and I'm from East Boston and he's from Chelsea. So I went to play at a tournament in Chelsea. And then we really connected well. We destroyed that tournament. It was just him and I just killing. And then I didn't see him for a bit. And I kept playing in the street and in some like town type of system behind my house. Lopresti now, which it's not what it used to look like. But then a club coach came one day to that practice and he's like, hey, somebody told me that I should come and look for you here. And I was like 12, 11. And then I was like, it's weird because my parents are not at practice. And then this person just comes. I could feel that he was a good person. And so he took me aside and we talked a little bit. And he said, I have a club team. And then he said, Carlitos recommended you. And then immediately Carlitos came to mind. And so Carlitos was playing in a club team, which I think now they're Vallejo, but they used to be Boston Blast. And so I went for a trial and they took me and I started playing. But my club experience doesn't start without that street game with Carlitos. And Carlitos recommended me to Boston Blast. And so I started playing with Carlitos at Boston Blast. And I started to get a little bit more structure in my development. But I was still in the street playing pickup, playing behind my house, still playing. Then I went to play high school. And I had these Tuesday nights that it was called Savios. And these Tuesday nights, we would just go and play pickup. And it was from, I think, 5 to 7. And you just go, you have 5 people on your team and you just go. And if you win, you stay. If you lose, you're out. It used to be packed. So if you had a bad team, you might as well just juggle with the wall. Like just get your touches in with the wall.
Yeah.
But if you had a good team,
Mm.
you're gonna play the whole time. And so it was a Tuesday night that I remember that I went to this pickup session. I say a session as if it was formal, like it was just
Yeah.
pickup.
Yeah.
And this guy walks in, called his name was Michael Bustamante, and I had heard that he was very good. And so as soon as he walked in, they needed one more player. My team sucked.
Oh
So I knew that I
no.
was not gonna
So you're
play.
out there
And
juggling
so I
with the
did
wall.
I did what you do when you want to
Yeah.
leave the team. Like, yo, I'm gonna go play for them. But when our team comes back in, I'll go back.
Mm.
And they never saw me again. And so Michael and Michael also from Chelsea, which is interesting. But at that time, he was playing for Boston University, and we destroyed that night the team that we were on. And something about my style captivated him, and he said, "Yo, let me take you to this coach." And he took me to the coach. Coach Francis, who was the coach at Blazers, and he gave me an offer. He said, "Hey, we're gonna buy you a trip because we're going to San Diego next week. You made the team." And then I'm 12 making these decisions. I'm like, yeah, I want to go. And then when I got home, I was like, but my friends and the other team, and like 5 days later, I'm like, yo, Francis, I'm not gonna go. And then Francis was like, how are you gonna do this to me? We already bought the flight. You are getting put into the roster, and I got to be so thankful for Francis because as a coach, I would have been right now so angry at the player. But he said, "Okay, you know what? When you're ready, come back." But I don't get to Francis without that pickup night at Savio's where I met Michael. And Michael, man, I am so grateful for what he poured into me because it wasn't just that pickup night. I won't go into all the details, but when I was a senior, my my senior year of high school, he was a junior in Boston University, and he had an extra year because of an injury. He decided to pick me up every single morning from May all the way to August, 7 a.m. in his car. He would be outside my door in East Boston, and he would take me to Boston University to train with him. And we would do all the fitness workouts. We would do all ball work. And Michael had nothing to gain from taking me here. I could not enrich his career. Yeah. And he decided to take me under his wing. And so without Michael, I don't get the exposure of one, having a role model, a future version of myself. I don't get to connect with Francis, who was the assistant coach at BU, who helped me get into BU. Yeah. And without Michael, I don't get to that club team. And in that club team, the mother's goalie in that club team was Martha. Mm-hmm. And so without Michael, we don't get Martha. And without Michael and Francis and Carlitos, we don't get Martha. And without Michael, Francis, Carlitos, Martha, I don't get to go to BU. And without me having all of those, my parents don't get to live the dream of their son being the first person to go into college and eventually finish college. There's a whole other story behind it that I was undocumented and being able to go through that. But the fact that Michael was there every single day picking me up, it just created a reality. When I would show up to Boston University, the coaches thought that I was almost like from showing up so many times, it was almost like in their brain, like, no, he's going to be a player next year. And I didn't even tell a part of the story where I went to BU to talk to the head coach. And the head coach told me, we don't have a spot for you. I can help you find find an alternative, but we don't have a spot for you. And you fast forward, and we are almost in preseason. Right before preseason, I'm working out at BU, and the coach that told me you can't be part of this, he's asking me, so did your immigration process go through? And I'm like, I'm waiting to hear back, and just almost like lingering a little bit of the story. But the point is, it wasn't necessarily Blazers, which was the club. It wasn't Boston Blast. It wasn't East Boston High School. It was specific people in these environments that made it work for me. And I long to be able to recreate this. This is why I'm so passionate about creating pickup sessions for the boys and girls that I work with. Yeah. This is why I'm passionate connecting some of the coaches and people that play pro to some of these guys in the Ballers Lab virtually. Meet somebody that is ahead of you or that is living a reality that you long to live. And so where this ends for me is I can't see anything that I've achieved outside of a community.
Yep.
And community just means people.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that we can achieve outside of people. And so I wonder what it looks like to be able to make a little bit more of an emphasis on the people that we interact with. The coach that's going to help you get to wherever you want to get. The teacher that's going to come out of nowhere and help you create the right essay. The parent of your teammate that's actually going to have the networking to get you not just into soccer or into college, but maybe your next job. There's something unique about our ability to connect and help each other out as humans.
I think it's so interesting that on top of that, like you said, it's not these organizations that brought you to where you wanted to go. It was the people, but it was always in moments where you least expected it. Like I would never anticipate that I'm going to play town and somebody from a club is going to come talk to me. I wouldn't expect to go play for like your next club and somebody's mom wants to help me. That why would you expect that if you? But the theme is you just have to show up and like be there in those places with the right intention, because it's not like you went to go play town and like, oh, I'm gonna get seen by somebody or I'm gonna talk to somebody and I'm gonna gain something from them. It's like, no, I'm gonna gain something from the relationship I develop with them.
Yeah, that's good. And I think I love that you say the intention and the unexpected, because when you're gonna go have fun, you're not expecting anything out of it. You're just, the only thing you're expecting is to lose yourself. I have weekly calls with one of my I say he's my mentor. I don't even know if he knows that he's my mentor. He's my friend, but we go in depth about we're so consumed by the idea of not wasting time. And everything that we do, we have to maximize the time that we do because we have to get here and I got a destination. And in one of our conversations, we're like, this is so intoxicating. Time is the most important resource because we don't get it back. But what if the most important thing was not to be so cautious about time, but to lose track of time? It was moments in which I lost track of time that I ran into these people. I actually had a player this week text me and he said, hey, coach, do you think it's okay to do nothing? And then
what a question.
What a question. Is it okay to do nothing? Do you ever have that question linger inside of your head?
Absolutely. I mean, when I was with my old therapist, I remember having a conversation with her and she's like, your goal this week is to just sit there for an hour and do absolutely nothing.
Wow.
I was like, what? What are you talking about? I can't do that. And she's like, no, you're going to. Didn't do that. But it's because it's hard. It's like we talked about it, like it feels weird to not do anything or to do something that you don't feel is progressing you in areas where you feel you need to see progress. That is the scary part, because then you feel you're behind somehow. And it's like, who are you comparing to? Your future self? You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe the area you're trying to progress in isn't even the area you're going to end up in. Like, we have such a fixed idea of what we want to progress in and how fast we want to progress in it, when really we need to do what we can in the moment. But we can't let that progress dictate what we do in that moment.
Yeah. The fear of falling behind is such an illusion. I love the question that you proposed. Falling behind from what? Or against who? I can't fall behind with myself because I haven't seen the future self, right? And so when I was talking to the athlete, I try to answer his question in a way that, there's room for nothingness, right? I just think that your nothingness can be an excuse for things that you are responsible to get done. And I think that's a dance that we need to take. Because I also don't think the correct thing is just find a way to be still and do nothing. Yeah, there's good moments to be still, but sometimes I do feel that nothingness, it is a procrastinating mechanism
Mm.
in a way that I don't want to attack that responsibility. I'm gonna go and do something else or do nothing. Um, and so the beautiful part about that, which I think is the difficult part about that, is that it calls us to be honest to ourselves.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we are programmed to do that. I think we are programmed to look at what others are doing and copy that, as opposed to
Yeah.
be able to understand your honest energy system,
Mm.
whether it's social energy, mental energy, spiritual energy, physical energy, and then work from there, not from what are other people doing. What's one takeaway for you today with regards to all the things that we talked about?
Honestly, I think what resonates with me a lot, or that I feel really passionate about, is the idea of you're not behind.
Mm,
No matter what you feel like you could be doing more, you're on the path that you need to be on. Um, and like we all can have dreams, and sometimes those dreams come true, sometimes they don't. But understanding that it's, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's what needed to happen. What I did achieve led me to the beautiful life that I have now.
And also be honest with yourself. Is where you're at today exactly where you thought you were going to be 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
When you start doing your curls and they come out a way that they didn't, for me, when I look at them, I'm like, yo, them shits are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what you intended to do or not, but I wonder if when people look at our life, they look at it like, I don't know if this is what you intended your life to be like, but it's a beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our stories are so beautiful when we are focused on the people around us. We'll close out with, we are creating a community
Mm-hmm.
with Infinite Ballers, and because we are so passionate about this, and we know that community is essential, and that absolutely nothing can be accomplished without community, we are creating a private community with Infinite Ballers. And in this community, we're going to have players, we're going to have coaches, we're also going to have parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Martha was not part of my story, this story wouldn't happen.
Yep.
Not only for me, but my parents' ability to get return in their investment of leaving their country. Without Martha, they wouldn't have that. And so there's something important about parents being in the community, and I think it's going to be a great space in which we can interconnect and learn from each other and put ourselves out there. I think another thing, we won't get into it today, but with the way that education is heading, we have so much information going inside of us, and we don't know how to articulate it to another human. And I think we're gonna have a generation that is gonna be the smartest generation, but it might be the least efficient or effective, because there's nothing uh, worthy of me having an idea if I can't share it with you. And not just you, my wife, but with the people that I work with. And so a community also challenges you to be vocal, to communicate, to listen to others, to have the courage to share an idea and be rejected, and to share an idea and see it worth more than you thought it was going to be worth before you articulated it. So I think the community is going to be an amazing space. This is a private community. And so if you do want to be part of it, it's invitation based. So let us know if you want to be part of our Infinite Ballers community. And I think that the heart of the community is just to, one, help humans connect, two, to help us articulate and create emotional intelligence, relational intelligence, in a way that all the stuff that this world is informing us of, which is good, we know how to digest it, filter it, take it out. And then in that process, and as that marinates, you create relationships that will help you not just achieve your dreams, but get to dreams that you didn't even imagine that were part of your life. Yeah. And like her curls, they're going to be beautiful. All right. That was episode 2. We look forward to all the episodes that we're gonna continue to do. And Mel, any final words?
No.
Thank you for doing this with me. I always have an amazing time listening to you, looking at you, seeing you smile, seeing you tell the stories that sometimes I haven't even heard. So thank you for spending this time with me and with the people listening. I love you, and I'll see you guys next episode.